Today I'm going to be talking about getting into a good routine while working out from home. I know it's tough. A lot of us are now faced with keeping up an exercise program while we're at home, but there's some tips and tricks that I have that'll hopefully help you to keep your exercise routine going long term. So I want to kind of give you my guide to how I have maintained an exercise program for about the last 35 years. So I exercise at least 4 or 5 days a week, every week, no matter what's going on, and that includes during the pandemic. And it's not because I have any special skill. It's because I've developed a system and some habits, and I just get into that same routine in the same way that, you brush your teeth at night. So it's not, again, about motivation or anything else. It's really about having a set of habits and routines that help you to keep going long term. So I have to give a little plug to start because, of course, exercise is one of the best ways that we can maintain a healthy immune system during this time. Tons of research in this area. It's really important, and especially as we get older, it's really important to maintain that exercise routine. So I'm happy to be talking about having an exercise routine long term today. So let's start with step one. Step one, you have to really pick apart two things. How much are you moving during the day, and how much structured exercise are you getting? So if you're anyone who's followed my blog or you've followed my Facebook page or Facebook Lives, you know that I have a real thing about daily movement and reducing what we call sedentary time, so that's seated time. And that's really important, and I just can't emphasize this enough. So, we've always been told that we have to exercise 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. We've now changed that to 150 minutes a week in bouts of 10 minutes or more. But it's pretty much the same thing. We're asking you to do what we call moderate to vigorous activity. So that's when you're out for a walk and you can carry on a conversation, but it's a little bit more difficult to carry on that conversation. You have to work at it. If you're in that kind of territory, then you are in moderate to vigorous. So that's your structured exercise piece. That's the piece that when we talk about exercise, it's different than daily movement. Now, when we think about daily movement, this is also so important because, of course, if we're moving for 30 minutes a day and we are inactive for the other 23 and a half hours, that has some really significant health impacts. Not to mention that when we're inactive, we're also not burning calories, of course, in the same way that we would if we added in that daily movement. And that can be in a variety of different ways. Of course, a lot of us are at home, so it might just be things like housework. It might be things like walking stairs, walking to the store, just getting in those little bits of extra movement. And trust me on this one, those little bits of extra movement make a huge difference. So if you're having trouble having that structured routine, at the very least, concentrate on those bits of daily movement wherever you can find them. So step one, I want you to quantify those minutes of daily movement. Now, this may sound kind of tedious, but I want you to just think about how many times you break up your sitting time throughout the day. This counts. It counts towards that weekly activity along with that structured exercise.